Good day, viewers. Welcome to another session on Grammar Genius with me, Imran CD Ahmad. In today's session, we are going to look at the pronoun. In here, we're going to look at everything pertaining pronoun, right from the origin and the definition of a pronoun to the subcategories of a pronoun, such like the personal pronouns, possessive pronouns, reflexive pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, interrogative pronouns, relative pronouns. So here at this juncture, we're going to look at the difference between interrogative pronouns and relative pronouns. We're going to look at the differences between these two, what differentiates one from the other, and then we're going to look at the indefinite pronouns. These are the things that we're going to look at in this session of pronoun. Let's delve in and find out more. So, origin and definition of a pronoun. What is the origin of a pronoun? The origin of a pronoun is that it came from, or rather it comes from a Latin word. Latin word pro, meaning what? For or in place of something, in replacement of something. Use it instead of something. And nomen here, nomen meaning what? Name. You use pro meaning what? For or instead of a name. You replace it with a pronoun. So that is basically the origin of a pronoun. Then pronouns are words used to replace names to avoid repetition and help make sentences more easier and more concise and much easier to read. Yes. So this is basically the meaning of a pronoun. The term pronoun reflects its function and standing in for a noun or name in a sentence. So now this is basically the origin and the definition, or rather the meaning of a pronoun. So let's move on to find out more about the subcategories of a pronoun. Brilliant. Let's go. Now, the subcategories of a pronoun. We have the personal pronoun. What are personal pronouns? These personal pronouns are the pronouns we use to replace the names of persons, people like you and I. So let's find out. Like examples, we have I and you, he, someone who is not there, here rather, she, someone who's not close to you, it, we, plural of I, and they. These are the examples of personal pronouns. Let's have sentential examples. As in the first example, we have I am going to the store. I am going to the store. This is I, meaning someone, the speaker, right? The speaker, like me. I am going to the store. The second example, you should read that book. You should read that book. You meaning what? The second person, the person being spoken to. And then he loves reading novels. He loves reading novels. He loves reading novels. And then we have she teaches English language. She teaches English language. It was dark and stormy night when the power went out. It was dark and stormy night when the power went out. We are planning a picnic this weekend. We are planning a picnic this weekend. And then they went to the movie last night. Now, these are the examples. Let's have a more clarification on why we have this I, on why we have you, he, she, it, we, and they. For example, here I have I am going to the store, which is basically normal. Okay, but for here also, I said to lack repetition, right? To take away repetition of names. So basically we don't have much repetition when using I, we don't have much repetition when we use you, right? We don't have it, we don't have that much problem. But here, for example, you get what I mean. He loves reading novels. Instead of using he, you keep using Aminu or John or rather Samuel or rather CD. You keep using names instead of he. You see, it becomes redundant. You know, the sentence will look, or rather the context will look more congested with names. But when you use he, it is assumed that the person you are talking to, the first person speaker and the second person, right, the listener, it's assumed that the person you are speaking to already knows the person in question here, he. For example, when you have someone you're talking to, like say for instance I'm talking to you and then we're having a conversation, then suddenly someone passes by and heard us saying he loves reading novels. That person passing by, since he has no idea of the topic of discussion and the person in question here, the person may ask, who loves reading novels? But since you and I, we already know, we have idea of what we are talking about, there's no point for us to be repeating names. So that's why we keep replacing the names with the personal pronouns like he. Same thing applies to this. She teaches English language. Who teaches English language? Instead of you to be saying Mariam, Aisha, Sarah, Amina, Janet, instead of you to be keep repeating names, you replace the names with she, because the person you're talking to knows who teaches English language. Good. It was dark and stormy night when the power went out. Here we don't have much repetition, right? We are planning a picnic this weekend, right? It's assumed here the person you are talking about, or you're telling telling about your plans of you making preparation for picnic this weekend. It's assumed that he knows you and who. For example, is it just you're talking about your family or rather your friends? The person listening to you knows who and who you're talking about. So there's no point in listing the names from A to Z, that this, that, this, that. No need for that. Just we are planning a picnic this weekend. He already knows who you're talking about, the listener. Same thing applies here. They went to the movies last night. They went to the movies last night. Who and who? So this is the meaning of personal pronouns. Pronouns used to replace personal names, because to take away the repetition of the names. Let's move on. So now same thing on personal pronouns, but what I forgot to tell you is that the personal pronouns we just finished talking about, like I, you, he, she, it, they are personal pronouns in subject position. They come at the very beginning of a sentence. So now we're going to look at personal pronouns in object position. They are called object pronouns, like me, you, him, her, it, us, them. These are what the pronouns we use in the object position, right? For example, she asked me for help. This me here comes at the middle, right? It comes after the verb. That's why it's also in the object position. It comes after the verb asked. So she asked me for help. Are you coming to the party? Are you coming to the party? This also, because it's not at the beginning, so it's in the object position, middle of a statement, right? I saw him at the party yesterday. I saw him at the party. Sorry, I saw him at the park yesterday. I saw him at the park yesterday. So this him here comes what? After what? The verb saw. At the park yesterday. So it's in the object position. Same here. I spoke to her on the phone earlier. I spoke to her on the phone earlier. So this also is what? A personal pronoun in the object position. The book on the table, is it yours? The book on the table, is it yours? It's a kind of question here. The book on the table, all right, we know the book on the table. Okay, then the question comes, is it yours? Here it comes after what the verb is. They invited us to their wedding. They invited us to their wedding. So this us here also is in object position because it comes after the verb invited. I'm meeting them for lunch tomorrow. I'm meeting them for lunch tomorrow. So here also them is also a personal pronoun in the object position because it comes after the verb meeting. So let's move on. Now, what I want you to know is that the examples I, you, he, she, and it are singular subject pronouns, while we and they are plurals of the subject pronouns, just like we explained in the what subject pronouns. And then we have me, you, him, her, and it as the what? Singular object pronouns, while us and them are the plural object pronouns. So this is what we basically need to have in mind, that when we talk about singular, we're talking about a single person, one entity, right? One. But when we're talking about plural, we're talking about from two and more. We have that same example in nouns, the topic we discussed in our previous session. Then now we move on to possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns. We also have this conversation, this discussion in our previous topic, nouns, in which we discussed the possessive nouns. So if you want, you can move back on to the previous video and watch it. So let's move on. Now, possessive pronouns. Under possessive pronouns, they are divided into two, I think. So we have the possessive adjectives or determiners. Here they are pronouns, but they serve as adjectives. Why? Because they qualify or they describe the noun that comes immediately after them. They show ownership also and come before the nouns. Let's find out. These are the examples: my, your, his, her, its, our, and their. These are the what? Possessive pronouns, right? And they act here as adjectives or determiners. All right, determiners here mean pointers. So let's have the sentential examples. My cat is very playful. My cat is very playful. So here you see it shows possession. Whose cat is it? It's his cat. My cat. It's my cat. But here, because it comes before the cat, it's also possessive. All right, and it serves as what? Adjective here. It takes the position of an adjective. That's why they are called, under possessive pronouns, they are also called possessive adjectives. Here we also have your book is on the table. Your book is on the table. Here you can see it here, your book. It comes before the noun, so it's a pronoun, quite sure, but it serves, it takes the work, all right, of an adjective, and also maybe a determiner. We'll explain more of these two adjectives and determiners in our upcoming sessions. His car is parked outside. His car is parked outside. This also is what? A pronoun, but also serving the role of a determiner or adjective, an adjective. Her phone is ringing. Her phone is ringing. Same thing with it. Its fur is soft and fluffy. Its fur is soft and fluffy. Same thing here. Our team won the championship. Our team won the championship. Same thing here. Their house is painted blue. Their house is painted blue. So we also have another section, possessive pronouns itself. They replace nouns to show ownership. Example: mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, theirs. Now let's move on and find out more. Look at this example here. The car is mine. The car is mine. Is this book yours? The red bike is his. The dress is hers. The dog lost its toy. So now, looking at these examples here, we see that the possessive adjectives there, they come in the what? Subject position. Whereas possessive pronouns here, they come in the object positions, right? The victory is ours. The victory is ours. So you see, these are possessive pronouns that come what? At the what? Object position. So the ones that we find there in the subject position, they tend to take the role of a determiner or an adjective. The opinions are theirs. The opinions are theirs, right? Reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns. So now, what are reflexive pronouns? From the name reflexive, we'll come to realize that it's talking about showing relationship. It's taking you back to where you come from. It's making a reference from one to something that comes before it. All right. So here we have singular reflexive pronouns. It refers back to the subject of the sentence. Examples: myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself. So these are reflexive pronouns that refer back to the subject position. Let's see the sentential examples. I made myself some breakfast. I made myself some breakfast. You see, this I here has a relationship with myself because this myself is reflecting. It's just taking you back to this I here. You made breakfast. It's talking about this. This myself is talking about the same I here. I made myself some breakfast. So that's why we're saying they refer back to the subject of the sentence. Don't forget to introduce yourself to the new neighbors. Don't forget. You're talking about the listener, the one you're talking to, that he should not forget about introducing himself to the new neighbors. Don't forget to introduce yourself to the new neighbors. You see, this also, yourself is also reflecting to the null, the null subject here. Like, you should not forget to introduce yourself. So here, since we have don't, it's a null subject. We have a subject here. We'll come about that when we go deep into syntax. We also have a null subject. We discuss it later in the future. He built the bookshelf himself. He built the bookshelf himself. This himself also is also reflecting back to this he. She prepared the entire meal herself. She prepared the entire meal herself. Same thing is happening here. This referring back to this. See? This is it. The next one is the cat scared itself when it saw its reflection in the mirror. The cat scared itself when it saw its reflection in the mirror. So you see the cat scared what? Not another cat, not someone else, but itself. It scared itself when it saw its reflection in the mirror. So this is it.